now tuned in to the cold, hard truth. Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
Good day, Cayman. I'm Kenneth Bryan, incumbent MP and candidate in the 2021 election. I would like to invite you to my campaign launch meeting on Saturday, the 20th of March at the Kirkholme Center parking lot, 256 Eastern Avenue. Come and hear my plans for Cayman and how I intend to address the issues that we face. There will be special guest speakers and surprise endorsements. Refreshments will be served, and Cayman's talented Quincy Brown will be the host for the night. The launch starts at 7 p.m. sharp, so make sure to mark the time and date on your calendars. This meeting is for everyone because I stand for all Caymanians, regardless of where you vote. And remember to wear yellow to show your support. My committee and I are excited to prove to you why I am the best choice on election day. I look forward to seeing you, and make sure you bring a friend. And remember, together, we still can make Cayman better.
All right, folks. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Thursday. What a beautiful day it is. First of all, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We have a lot that we need to get to in terms of discussion this morning. We will have Heather Bodden, who's going to be joining us a little bit later on as well. So please continue to tune in to the program once Heather joins us. And if you've got friends that have forgotten to watch, because a lot of people always say to me, send me the link, just go ahead and share it with them and remind them we are live every single morning, Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. Now, yesterday we had a very interesting show. I want to talk about some of the things that transpired yesterday, in addition to some new information that has come to our attention. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, it's going to get hot this morning. I have my turmeric and ginger tea. My apologies. Good morning to Evelyn. Good morning to the beautiful, ever so beautiful Siobhan. Olivia is here. Lots of beautiful people. Miss Morna is also here. Good morning, Marshall. Atlas. What a hot mess we got to carry on with here today. Ay. Dimitrik, thank you so much. I've not seen you, Dimitrik, in a little while. It's so nice to see some faces that we miss on occasion. Let me just restart the camera there. Felicia, good morning to you. Top of the morning to Louis. He's always chilled with his cup of tea. And I don't know if Louis is smoking anything today. It's probably not going to be as hot as yesterday, but hey, it's going to get pretty hot. Big shout out to Miss Bonnie. Miss Bonnie, thank you so much for the beautiful and delicious custard top cake yesterday. I haven't yet had a piece, but I'm saying it's delicious because I know somebody else who's had a piece and they absolutely loved it. They're like, oh my gosh, this custard top is delicious. Now I'm trying to get the camera to kick in and it really isn't kicking in this morning. So you might have to just enjoy the little photo of me for a minute until the camera decides to behave itself. So thank you. You guys know Miss Bonnie can cook. Them EastEnders know what's going on. They know what time of day it is, folks. So I never turn down food, especially from EastEnders, because trust me, they're the island's top-notch bakers, especially, and they know how to cook up pretty much anything. So thank you again, Miss Bonnie. Good morning to Anthony. Jasara is here for the tea. Good morning, Larry from New York. Barbara, good morning. Larry wants to know if he's allowed to eat ice cream out of his mug. Absolutely. Can I tell you that's my favorite way of eating ice cream, Larry? I don't put ice cream in a regular bowl. I put ice cream in a mug. And I absolutely love it. So yeah. Ay. All right, so we got a lot going on here. Alec is just reminding us that today is his normal day as well. So Alec, we should let you know. We'll let you know when, because I do want to jump into a few things this morning before you guys come on. So yes, enjoy your ice cream in your mug. It's delicious. Don't you just love when ice cream melts just a little bit in your mug? So it's kind of like between an ice cream and a little Slurpee. Tea time. Yes, Louis, it is tea time. Time for us to get this on the road. Duran, thank you for tuning in. Alice, Senor Ricci, good morning. Tell your lovely wife, Celine, I said hello. Yes, Kianda, we are live and we are going to get it this morning. Oscar, good morning. He has such a lovely singing voice. And Oscar has such great customer service. I think he still works at the hospital. I haven't been there in a while, but I do need to come and see you, Oscar, your department, for some annual checkups. So I'll probably see you soon. I need to make an appointment. But Oscar's always so incredibly helpful when you go to that area of the hospital, folks. So big shout out to Oscar and all of the HSA staff that work really hard every day to make sure that we get such excellent service. Carrie Ann is here. Good morning. Robin is here. Thank you, Robin, for tuning in. So good to see you. Garth says good morning. He's watching. Kathy Anderson. Yes, you're going to get, okay, I got you. Tracy, good morning. So let's get into the sauce this morning. Curtis is on the bluff. Good morning, Curtis. I saw that really nice picture of you and your grandbabies. They are such handsome little fellas. Marshall says, I totally agree. The food from EastEnders be the best. I used to go just for the food when it was Pirates Week in that district. Yes, honey child, we still do it, except Pirates Week is so mixed up these days. Good morning, Anne-Marie. Good morning, Miss Valdine. And good morning, Sarah, and everybody else who is silently watching. We have 64 people logged on between the Facebook page and the YouTube channel. And you guys, I know why you're here. You're here for the sauce. So let me give it to you. Yesterday's program was super interesting. And as I suspected, there's always a fallout when you have a program like that. And there's always a fallout when, first of all, we're going to be talking this morning about the premier and his big announcement in response to being called a liar by developers yesterday. Incredibly interesting response from him. So we're going to delve into that a little bit further this morning. And we're also going to delve into what transpired with Ralston and people who were here supporting Ralston and all the baby mama drama. Okay, so let us start with that first, because I hope we can quickly put that to bed. Because it's an unfortunate situation that I even have to address this today. But when I said yesterday that, listen, sometimes your best bet is to just let sleeping dogs lie. You say nothing. And this is a tough lesson in life. Good morning to the ever so lovely Debbie. This is a tough lesson in life that even myself, I have had to learn. You just leave certain things alone, especially when it comes to addressing them in a public arena. Now, I've told you guys already about this concept of, it's called the Barbra Streisand effect, right? It's an actual thing. And basically, what the Barbra Streisand effect says is that when something is on social media, in particular, you are better off just leaving it alone. And I get people doing this all the time. They want to address things when they should just keep their mouths shut and have absolutely nothing to say. So yesterday when, when Bernie was on the program, Ralston supporters came out attempting to, I guess, undermine Bernie. And by doing so, they wanted to undermine a story that Bernie told us. Now, if you missed it, let me just recap a little bit. Bernie walked off of the show on Rooster the day before, which would have been on Tuesday. And so we heard as Bernie walked off, and people always add a little bit of sauce to it. So it was kind of the version we got is, oh my gosh, Bernie stormed off. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't know what's going on over at Rooster because we don't watch Rooster, but all right. And let me get it from the horse's mouth. So I did reach out to Bernie immediately. And Bernie told me the exact same story that you guys heard yesterday. So none of his story was actually a surprise to me when he came onto the program yesterday, including the bit about helping this young child. Now, let me say this. I think some of you have questioned, well, why did Bernie have to share that story? I think the reason that Bernie actually shared the story is because he was trying to put in context what was happening with his day. And he's entitled to do that. I mean, we should hear the full story, right? It shouldn't be, well, I just, stormed in there and this is what I did. He said, no, he was going in. This is how he's feeling. This was the mindset that he was in. And these are some of the things that helped to put him in a particular mindset. I totally get it. Good morning, Jackie. So, I think that people need to just settle down a little bit when it comes to this campaign. I guess everybody has an interest and in ensuring that their candidate of choice gets in. And the tempers are starting to flare. I'm seeing the tempers flare in Georgetown South. Noel is on his live stream every day saying that people are talking about him and, he has a right to free speech. And I'm like, why even bother? This is a thing that sometimes, like I said, I get we're human beings and we want to respond, but honestly, sometimes the best response is absolutely no response at all. Anyway, we're going to talk about another person who likes to respond every single time something is posted about her, except she can never be honest about it. And that's Eve High Voltage. That's been in the news again recently. So we'll have a minute this morning to talk about that under this general umbrella of the Barbra Streisand effect. Yes, when you have skeletons in your closet, especially when your life is messy as hell, okay? Just relax yourselves, folks. There really is no need for it. Well, apparently Ralston has a very messy personal life. And I don't know that this is probably a surprise to any of you. I don't really know. But he does have some baby mama drama. He does have an ex-wife with several children. And so yesterday, as a result of all of the comments, and I said, listen, remember, folks, you are an aunt. You are related to this child. You are, a father to this child, whether or not you currently have a relationship with the child or not. One day you will. And all you guys did yesterday was open Pandora's box and allowed people to start messaging me and sending screenshots with all of your messiness. Now, here is the thing, folks. I think my camera is finally on. There we go. There we go. Perfect. I want to make sure my beautiful flags are showing in the background. Get those flags, honey. Love me a Cayman flag, boy. So yeah, you know what this reminded me of? Remember last election? We had the biggest scandal ever with a certain man sitting in Health City sexting the wife, or not sexting the wife, but sexting some girl, $200 in cab fare. That was one of the biggest scandals. Well, it's the biggest scandal that I know about during an election cycle. Everybody in the Cayman Islands was talking about it. All it does is, number one, distracts from the issues that we really should be talking about. And number two, as a candidate, it makes you look messy as hell. And the last thing you want to look like is messy. Because let me tell you the lies that are perpetrated in this community, especially in West Bay, that helps to fool some of you voters. And we're going to get straight to the point this morning. So there are men out there who are in politics who we all know can't keep their parts where they belong. And you guys know what I'm talking about. They're out there philandering. And there are rumors from the top about Kim, who works at Mango Tree. Not Mango Tree. Is it Mango Tree? Country. One of them bars. I think it's Country. A certain Spanish lady named Kim, who now supposedly is being paid to go to law school by a certain high-ranking official in the Progressives. I have seen private pics, you guys know what you call them, D-pics, of other elected officials, allegedly. Speculation, not confirmation. And here's the thing. I don't know if that's his private part or not. I've never been with that minister. So how am I supposed to know? But why am I even seeing them? Because you know why? Because you people are messy. You have wives, you're married, and you are messy beyond belief. And this is the type of silly season right now, folks, that I get everything. Believe me. And the same hookers, ladies of the night that you're out there talking to, these Spanish girls primarily, they will trick you out for a higher bidder. There's no loyalty. There's a song called Those Hoes Ain't Loyal, and I hate to even say that, but this is the truth. So these girls are not loyal to you. They're loyal to their paycheck. So yes, they are loyal to you being able to support their lifestyle and give them some money. And when someone else comes along that they believe can do a better job at that, then guess what? Dog gonna eat your supper, honey. Because you are in trouble. They are sharing all of your business all over the place. You've got to be careful. What I would suggest you do, really, is instead of going out there having these philandering affairs on the side, try to work it out with your wives, folks. And if you cannot work it out with your wives, then divorce them and you become a free agent and you can do whatever you want. But that's not what they do, because they're told by leaders in this country, political leaders, that, oh, right, you've been married and divorced 5 times. Go get married to the exact same person right before an election, because that's going to get you some votes. Start going back to church because that's going to make you look good. You people are so incredibly ridiculous. But you know what is even more ridiculous? That we, the voters, fall for that cockamamie BS. Going to church makes you no more a Christian than me not going to church makes me a sinner. But oh no, we believe that you got to be knocking down church doors. So if you're knocking down church doors and you're singing up in the church choir, and you've got a bass voice, a treble voice, I don't even know what they call it, and you can bellow out all these tunes. Oh, everybody, he be singing that song with compassion, He turned to the Lord again. But how many times are you going to turn to the Lord before we begin to really question if this is just an act of convenience, an act to get people to vote? Now, you know that this election cycle, I get all sorts of information on people. There are people who are running right now who have pension issues. As a matter of fact, I'm about to drop a bomb on you all, but we're not ready yet. It might come tomorrow. It might come early next week in relation to pension woes. My friends, if your life is messy, your business life, your professional life, and you are thinking about running for politics, let me give you a word of advice. Do not. Because if there is one time that stuff is going to come out on you, it is during a political season. There's another candidate. Let me give you an example of how this goes. This is before Mall Road, because what's happening now is that Mall Road is going to be the one that's going to get all the information, because they know that we have the platform for the social. I mean, look at you guys. 283 of you logged in right now listening to this. And opponents are paying attention to opponents, and they're like, Erks! Ooh, child, honey, child, I see your little peepee in this photo. I'm going to give it to Mall Road. I have seen it. Now, the only reason it has not been shared is, number one, I can't actually say who it's for because I've not seen it in person, and I don't want to see it. Don't be getting me wrong now. Don't be coming up on me talking about I'll show it to you. No, thank you. But I'm sure if I was to put it out there, there would be others who could positively identify it. It'd be like a lineup. Yes, honey child, I know who that's for. The wife would be able to know who it's for, I'm sure. She'd also be able to identify the toes in the photo, the tile on the floor of where it was taken from. Stop being so messy. Because when you are being messy, folks, you're only inviting us, the general public, us, the Mall Road fans who like the sauce every once in a while, into your lives. And I would highly recommend that you clean up your hot mess of a life before you enter the world of politics. But no. They're so, you see, to me, it's insulting. Curtis said he wants one of them tablets I had this morning. Honey child, I'm only having my turmeric tea. We're not getting no tablets here today. Because like I said, you saw the title of the show, When Politicians Lie. Wow. You shouldn't do it. The thing about politics in Cayman is people watch your every move. This is the cold, hard truth. No matter what you are doing, someone is watching you. And they are whispering and talking amongst each other. And they're not going to necessarily tell you to your face what they think or what they're talking about behind your back. And so I hope that every single candidate is listening to this program today with a view of understanding, or any potential candidates, that do not throw your hat in the proverbial political arena if your life is a hot mess. Josiah says West Bay has some of the dirtiest politicians, and it's the same elderly people who be out there walking and talking their business that still votes them back in. I truly don't understand it. Well, if people out there walking and talking their business, we're going to talk about it here on Mall Road here today, because I know what you're talking about, Josiah. We have senior members of the Legislative Assembly from the beautiful district of West Bay. Never can settle down, never can get married, but they got all 6 women at a time. Apparently what they do in the bedroom must be so impressive that they can handle 6 women at a time. And they are running around like a bunch of fools. And these poor women getting stressed out by him, having nervous breakdowns and all kind of stuff because these men treat them very, very poorly. And that is incredibly sad. How can you talk about you want to represent this country, represent women who make up over 50% of the population, and you can't even be in a committed relationship with one woman? You all over the damn place. We see you. West Bay, I see you. Not to mention the ones who are out there clowning around and beating women up. And I'm not just talking about the Speaker of the House, folks. There are many others who are also likewise out there assaulting women in their personal lives. And these are not make-believe stories, folks. We know these stories to be true because sometimes the women talk. And so this is where, again, clean up your messy life. It will all come out in the wash. It's truly come out in the wash. So needless to say, yesterday, those of you who decided to come and put Rolson's business out there, you did so at your own peril, and you actually did so at Rolson's peril. I have people contacting me. Oh, I have a child with this candidate. And I said, okay, well, most of them got children, honey. That's nothing new. That's nothing that's really all that newsworthy. What's the problem? Oh, well, he's not taking care of his child, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. Because that's going to be the narrative for these women. This man isn't taking care of his child. Well, when it comes to CMR, you need to prove to me that he's not taking care of his child. And I say, all right, show me the proof, because there's always 2 sides to the story as well. And when the father can come and say, here's all my receipts, my child support payments, here's where I've been trying to contact my child because my child lives overseas, and the wife, or the girlfriend, not the wife, the ex-girlfriend, baby mama drama, doesn't want me to see my child, then I have to go, well, honey, like Bruce said, the women are not blameless. And Bruce, I can tell you, I would never give the man the complete fault in this situation at all. But I'm going to tell you how I kind of see it, right? Couple of things here. As a woman, we've all been down that road where we have been fooled by a man. They say, oh no, I'm separated. I'm not with her. I live at a different residence, blah, blah. They can tell you any kind of lie in the world, and you're more than willing to believe them. Now, history has taught us, if we're willing to learn, that maybe you need to slow down and not believe these men, because when they want to get in your panties, they will tell you absolutely anything. And you think that Cayman is small until somebody's lying to you, because trust me when I tell you, there are people who will cover up the lies on behalf of their friends. You know who you are. There are enablers who help these men cheat. Yes, honey child, they're out there. They're the best friends. Sometimes they're family members, they're siblings, they're brothers, they're sisters. So you go to them and say, is your brother really separated from? Yeah, child, he's separated from his wife. She not no good. They haven't been together forever. Oh, you're the best thing after this and that. And that's like, okay, well, if the sister's saying it, you're thinking in your head, well, I can believe the sister, can I? She's another woman. She must really know what's going on here. Or they're going to bring you into the fold. But you see, this is the history of dysfunction that we have in this country. Some men are so used to cheating that their cheating game is like at a professional level. They need to write a book on how to cheat on your wives 50 million times and get away with it in the Cayman Islands. How would we say it? There's a way that we say, we wouldn't really say 50 million in Cayman. Like we would say like, oh God, how would we say it now? Help me out here. 50/11th or whatever. We would say something kind of funny like that, but it happens. And there are these enablers that surround these political candidates because they know that when they get into politics, the trickle-down effect for them as family members is good. So, of course, they have a vested interest in getting this person elected, and they will tell you anything to do so. Well, like I said, once your business is out there and it's in the public domain, you have just taken a chance, and it's not a good chance to take. So unfortunately, yesterday after the show, my phone was blowing up like, wow. I felt like I was the National Enquirer. We were not just, 40, 11 teen. Thank you, Richard. Thank you so much. That's right, Keisha. And trust me, it is happening out there that many times. So my poor phone has been blowing up. And I was just like, honey, child, I can't take the phone call. Blip, blip. This one was ringing. I was on this one. The next one was pinging with WhatsApp messages. I was like, Lord Jehovah, here we go. I tried to warn these people and they wouldn't listen. 7-11 teen, yes. But this is like 1,011 teen because that's how much they've been doing it. We know who you are. We know who the infamous cheaters are that are LA members or want to be LA members. Your track record in that department there's a huge blemish over it. Let's put it that way. So when you start going back to church and you're trying to make up with your wives and you're trying to pretend, we do not believe you. I don't know if them old people in West Bay believe you or not, but the average person in this country does not believe you. And you know what is interesting? Let me tell you about something with men and their prowess. Cheaters gonna cheat no matter what. Ladies and gentlemen, wake up. I don't care if it's a woman cheater or a man cheater. They're going to cheat no matter what. However, when they are in a position of power, so in other words, they get a little job as an MP, all of a sudden, I don't know if it's like because they're more access to the women, they have a more of a disposable income, they have a position. So when they go into country, when they go into South Coast Bar, when they go into Mango Tree, and all these other locations like Cotton Club, picking up the Colombian girl on your birthday, I don't know if the Colombian looks at this man who really not cute and says, well, he's a minister. So I know if I go with him, I'm going to get a couple good coins. He's good for it. He's going to pay his bill. Not like some of these other jokers out here who I'm giving it to and they're barely paying anything. He's good. He can give me $600 for a little 30 minutes of fun or whatever the going rate is these days. So maybe that explains why they become more attractive when they are in a position of power. I don't know. You guys have to tell me how all that works. But the truth of the matter is they seem to behave themselves less once they get the job as MP. And that's very, very dangerous, you see? That's why people will call you a narcissist when they see that type of thing coming out in your personality. Because for the individual who's the MP, that's also a power play for them. Oh, I know that I'm in a position of power. You know how we're always talking about vote buying? Well, what we need to talk about is front buying this morning. Because apparently front buying is a very popular thing. And when you're an MP, the girls are thinking, oh, wow, he can help me. He can put me in law school. Go check the law school roster and you know who I'm talking about. He can buy me nice handbags. He can buy me that boob job. Minister, remember the boob job? That we all know about. And these are the things that all of a sudden, is attractive to these girls. The average Joe out there working may be less inclined, I don't know, to give you a boob job than an MP. And then they also have, because of their positions, people who surround themselves with that situation who are more than willing to cover up for them. Because you know how it goes. Oh, well, if I cover up for my friend up in Bodden Town, well, you know what can happen, right? He got me covered. Anything I need, I pick up the phone. Yo, I need $1,000 right now. Write me a check to cover up this scandal that's happening in the district involving a child or whatever the situation is. Oh, I want to go on an official trip when the borders reopen. I want to be in that plane to Monaco. Okay, we got you because you're in the inner circle. And when you're in the inner circle, part of your job is to protect that individual and to give them access. You know the stories that are floating around about these men and underage children that a lot of you know in this community and you are covering it up? It's actually very disgusting when it comes to this particular part of the conversation, because that is the lowest that you can go. And yet we know that it's happening in this community. And not only do we know that it's happening in this community because everybody's talking about it, we are still willing to turn a blind eye and to vote those people into public office. You guys have to explain it to me now. How does this work exactly? Am I right or am I right? It's like the worst kept secret with some of these individuals. Anyway, yesterday the tea was flowing. The little coffee pot was overflowing with information. So I got all sorts of phone calls. And like I said, once you put your business out there, there's no way to pull it back. And that's why I was doing my best to warn them yesterday not to do it. So let me tell you what business is out on the streets here this morning as a result of yesterday's show. Jonathan says it's called the game. Thank you, Jonathan. Educate me, child. I know a little bit about the game, but I'm not the one who wrote the playbook. Somebody else wrote it. I'm just flipping through it. Irvin says, somebody please call Sandy's husband to come and get her child. He not into the sus or the makeup. He or the mix up. He wouldn't even be able to tell you what's on Mall Road on any given day because he not into it, not at all. He's like, I'm just walking around blinders. Don't talk to me about nothing because I don't know what's going on. So, I was really saddened by what transpired yesterday, to be honest. I know a little bit about the situation. And what I do know, as I said to you guys, that a child is involved. And the sad thing about this is no matter what, you cannot and you should never blame the children. They are the only ones in all the mix-up that are blameless. You husbands, women who believe their lies and who buy into it, sisters, nieces, nephews who are out there telling a certain narrative on behalf of the cheaters, you're part of the problem. And I'm going to set you straight this morning. Stop defending the ridiculousness that happens in Cayman. You have two choices. You either keep your mouth shut or you speak the truth and you shame the devil. Now, you all were not willing to speak the truth yesterday. So when you start throwing around dispersions and you start calling people on this program liars, like you were doing yesterday, what you have to recognize is that some of those people and some of their supporters are going to call me and say, Sandy, nobody shouldn't be calling Siobhan a liar because here are the receipts that we have. Now, because poor Siobhan, and listen, Siobhan has been featured on this program before because I do know sometimes Siobhan can get a little bit messy. And so we really don't spare anyone. And, I think everyone can see that Siobhan is a big woman. And she appears to be the kind of woman that will have to live with the fact that she chose the wrong person to be her baby daddy for the rest of her life, and at least for the foreseeable 18 plus years. You know what someone said to me yesterday? I want you to think about this for a second, because this is kind of a sad indictment on us, right? Someone said, I cannot tell you that Rolston is a bad father. And I was like, okay, that's good to know. That's some salient truth. However, what I can say is that he is a bad father to that little child. And I was like, wow, that's one way of looking at it. And that's sad, if that is true. And again, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's true. I'm just telling you what was on the Mall Road all day yesterday. Because if that is true, if it is true that Rolston has not seen this child but 3 times since June of last year, we got a problem. That is not something that I want to hear. And I told you guys yesterday a little bit about my personal experiences with this whole outside children situation. And so I'm going to put a little bit of my business on the table here today to let you know why I feel so particularly aggrieved by this situation. There's some things in our lives that we have to live with and that honestly bring us to our knees. And as a child myself, I'm no longer a child, but when I was a child, I was put in that same situation. Again, no making of my own, where I am born into a situation with adults making very poor decisions. My father was a serial cheater. There, I can admit it. You guys might not have known Uric Solomon, but the little that I knew about my father, because I lived away from Cayman for a very long time, so I didn't grow up as close to him as some of my other siblings, but I do know that the man cheated. How do I know that? Well, he has 3 children out of wedlock to prove it. And they tell you don't speak ill of the dead, so I'm not trying to speak ill of the man, but I'm also telling you the truth. And I'm telling you why I can sit here and be so incredibly familiar with probably the emotional side of this situation and what will end up happening to that child throughout his life if everybody in the family does not embrace him. Now, thankfully for me, for all of my father's faults, and he had many, he drank too much. I heard, I don't know, speculation, not confirmation, that he could also be abusive to women. I never saw that side of him, but I've heard the stories. And when I think about them objectively, I say to myself, Sandy, you got to be fair. It's entirely possible. Because the person who was telling me, I don't think would lie. So it is what it is. Sometimes the very people that we love and care about are not the best people in the world. Sometimes not even to us. I never had an issue. But we have to objectively look at the situation and say, yes, it's possible. When you go out of your marriage and you have children, it's bad enough, in my opinion, when you go out of your marriage and you cheat. That will have a fallout of its own. But you can move on from that. You can repair that situation, right? You can bring that cheating husband back into the fold and pray and hope that he never does it again. But when there's a child that comes out of this, you can't just ignore the child and pretend like the situation is going to go away, because a child never goes away. That child is present. That child is there, right? That child has to be embraced and loved by everyone. That child is going to know, and I've seen so many situations in Cayman. Sometimes it's not even a cheating situation. Sometimes it's a situation where before a man got married, he had a child out of wedlock. And this was really back in the day, because a lot has changed now. And back in those days, folks, men didn't always admit it. So we talk about, we have in Cayman Nowarians. You guys have heard this term because of immigration status. Think about this. We have Nowarians in Cayman who don't know who their dad is. They don't know who they're for. And I'm telling you, I have seen so many. When I tell you, Caymanians, professionals, they're head of their organizations, they are walking around with no clue who they are for. Their mothers either didn't tell them or they lied to them. There's a really famous case about a woman who died. And after she died, her child was trying to figure out who the father was and went on this whole trip around the world trying to find this man, because some little old lady in Cayman thought she knew who your daddy was, because, oh yeah, I remember your mom. It was with this man. Do a DNA test, and it was like an episode of Jerry Springer. And you were not the father. It's like, damn, how many people was your mama with? But you see, this is our legacy as Caymanians, right? You all want to talk about we're such a Christian, upstanding society. And them old people be looking down and us like, yeah, well, oh, this one, she liked to run around a little bit too much, and this one, I know good, and blah, blah, blah. The same one of you who are talking it need to shut up. Because when we go digging back into your history, we see that you are no better. But you think because it's now ancient history that everyone has forgotten. Ain't nobody forgotten nothing, honey. This is Cayman. You just have to talk to the right people, some of them older heads, and they will tell you, oh, she might be married now with a child, but honey, child, she was all over the place beforehand. That is why in Cayman we have so much mix up genetically. You have people who are first cousins, double first cousins on both sides. How do you think that happening? You have sisters back in the day sharing the same man and both of them having children for him. I said it because it's the truth. So we have a long and extensive history of a lot of mix up and a lot of sus in this country. And back then, it was easier for men to deny, to try to uphold their good names. So yes, they denied. You know, this whole DNA and me, 24 and me, all these DNA tests that are available. You know how many Caymanians have taken those tests and they put them in a database and then they start to tell you who you're connected to? Oh my gosh, I have a sister in Texas? How the hell did I get a sister in Texas? Yes, honey child. Because when your daddy was out to sea, he was sowing his royal oats or not so royal oats literally all over the worldwide ocean. So you got siblings all over the world that you don't know nothing about until you take a DNA test. And then it's like ping, 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 ping. Oh my gosh, I've got a close relative here, a blood relative there. How did this happen? Well, that's how it happened. Speak the truth and shame the devil. The problem is there's too many people who are willing to deny their own children. And this has led to a whole issue, talking about nowhereans, like I said, this has led to a whole lot of individuals, no matter how much they achieve in life, they're professionals, they're CPAs, they're lawyers, they're communication managers, they're head of departments. And their lives are always a little bit messy in their personal lives because they're living with this baggage. It doesn't matter if they're 25, 45, or 55. They're living with this baggage of knowing that I'm the first child of this individual, but he don't own me like he does his other children. This has caused so much pain in this community. I cannot begin to tell you. Right? I'm the first child, but I can't have his last name. Nobody knows, or people talk about whispers that, yeah, she for so-and-so, you know, or that person that raised her, not really her daddy. And those same old people want to talk about us, like what we doing. Don't go there because we know you're dirt. This is a legacy that we need to break. Things happen. Evidently, people cheat. Evidently, people are going to have children out of wedlock. Evidently, people are going to have children out of wedlock before they're married, as well as when they're married. But you cannot deny the children that are brought into this world. Folks, they are blameless. So Jonathan points out that the women were up to no good. I just told you. 2 sisters sharing one man and having children for him. There are stories that I can tell you with an uncle and a nephew, and the woman had children with both. One set here and one set there, in between, back and forth. This is the reality of Cayman life. And I don't know why y'all be trying to hide it. There are people who are both cousins and siblings at the same time. You think about it. I'm not telling a lie here today. The messiness is real, folks. Let me try and sip some of this tea. So we don't expect our politicians to be perfect because none of them are. Believe me, you. But I think when you throw your hat in the political arena, you need to do so when your life is not quite as messy. And the one thing that was proven yesterday is that Rolson's life is messy at the moment. You guys are throwing out, and I think Bernie said it. He said, listen, Rolson has no room to talk about me about anything because he's out there raking up all these DUIs and all this kind of stuff. Now, Molson has had a few DUIs up until March of last year. It wasn't a DUI. Let me correct myself before Rolson sent me a letter from his lawyer. Last year, because he didn't get tested after the accident, he has a careless driving, I think is what the charge was. Anyway, I've actually seen the charge sheet, by the way. You know how I told you earlier that people bring me everything? I've had someone show up in the bushes, so to speak, not literally the bushes, but undercover with the actual charge sheet showing it to me. And I said, oh, but I know about this already because we actually covered it back in whatever, March or April of last year when it happened. He ran into the roundabout there by Cost-U-Less. He said he had taken an all-natural tonic that made him drowsy or whatever. I'm not the medical physician here, so I can't tell you. But it's like the third or fourth time now. So people are kind of like, what's going on here? Something not quite right. We don't want perfect politicians. What we want are honest politicians. So if you mess up, just say that you have messed up. Last night, I went to Wayne Panton's political meeting. Wayne Panton stood up and said, listen, when I was with the last government, I made some mistakes. I was there for the people as minister, but I wasn't really on the ground in my district. And now I know that you can't do both. Thank you, Tracy, for that salient advice. The fact that many people, both men and women, go about their deceit all week and then go to church on Sundays, you people know, all forgiven, and then the next week it happens again. Standing in a church no sooner makes you a Christian than standing in a garage makes you a car. Amen to that. Trust me. So it's sad that people are on the show yesterday trying to throw the baby mama, Siobhan, under the bus when they themselves probably don't even know that just last week or the week before, Ralston was knocking on her door. Folks, don't do it. I told you, mind your own business. Even if that is your brother, your uncle, you don't know what the man is doing. Do not swear for nobody. Remember what them old people used to tell you? Don't swear for people? Well, I'm going to tell you, don't swear for people. Because when you try swearing for people, you're going to make yourself look like a clown. Okay? Because you don't know what they're doing behind closed doors, and you don't know what they're whispering in people's ears. Now, based on what you saw yesterday, you would have thought, oh my God, well, obviously these two are at each other's throats. There's no way that Ralston could be knocking on Siobhan's door after hours anytime in the past year or past 2 years since this baby been born. Well, you'd be foolish to think that that was the case. And you know what else? You'd be foolish to think that people don't see you're going and coming. And you'd also be foolish to think that people do not know and that there are photos that are out there. So Philip says Siobhan should be reported to DCFS for being negligent. Get the story straight too, because I have seen 3 different versions. Well, I'm not here to tell you which version is correct. I'm here to give you the hard, cold facts. And Philip, the hard, cold fact is this: DCFS is already involved. So if that makes you happy that DCFS is involved in this situation and we'll be talking to Siobhan, then you can smile now and pat yourself on the back because an investigation is already underway. Bernie told you yesterday that one of the people looking for the baby was a police officer. And he has a legal obligation to report what happened. But you know what also you may not know, Philip, that you probably need to know? Is that child almost got ran over by a dump truck. This is a sad reality now of putting all the pettiness aside, right? And bringing it home. I am a mother. And I suppose my daughter, I saw her recently figuring out that she can actually open the front door. And I actually said to my husband, ooh, that's not good. She's tall enough. She can reach the lock and she knows how to twist it because she's been watching us, and she turns the little handle. There's some adults who can't even figure out our lock system, but she sure can. So what if one day I'm home by myself napping on the sofa and all of a sudden my daughter gets out? Of course, DCFS is going to be called. And of course, I'm going to have to account to that because there will be questions. Well, Miss Andy, if you were taking a nap and you know that Gianna can now open the door, why don't you put a deadbolt on it that she can't reach? Why not turn on the alarm in the house so that when she opens it, the alarm would have gone off and woken you up? But do you also know, Philip, if you really want to get to all of the truth, that when Ralston was told that the child was missing, let me ask you a question. Did Ralston ever go and check on the child afterwards, after he was found? Maybe those are the things that DCFS might be concerned about as well. I'm just saying, don't look to throw just one person under the bus in these types of situations. Because more often than not, there's more than one person to be blamed. You see, we didn't want to get in your messy lives because it is tremendously messy. But when you bring us into it, then we start getting messages like this. So let me show you what is in circulation now about Ralston and Siobhan. So, this poor child is now the topic of conversation. I don't know the dates of these conversations, folks. I just know that these conversations took place. So, what we do know as a fact, although Ralston was a married man at the time, he was not living in the house with his wife. I don't know how long this affair was going on for, but for part of the affair, he was actually living off of Bolton's Avenue or wherever the heck it is that Siobhan lives. He was living with her. We also know that Ralston registered the child because, you know, these are documents that people can produce. The child is named after Ralston, and apparently that was his decision. Let me ask you guys a question. If you really want to get messy here today, how many other outside children does Ralston have? Honestly. I mean, do you really want to go down that road of just trying to blame Siobhan? Just because the other baby mamas might be in Jamaica or somewhere else, and they can't get on here and say, well, here's the cold, hard truth about what's going on? The Barbara Streisand effect. Sometimes you just need to keep your mouth shut. Because when you're trying to make certain people look bad, you are digging the proverbial grave for the people that you're trying to protect. So here's Ralston saying, really? Yeah, like I was a millionaire in your eyes. Well, I doubt that. You always make assumptions and then make all sorts of great deductions. You should ask simple questions. Of course, a cheap secondhand Benz that I bought from my sister meant I was rolling in it, right? Okay. Thank God for getting me to a point where I'm able and thank supporters for helping with our community. I don't know what that means. Is that handout? What does that mean? Let's see if you can figure it out before you get a shock of surprisation. Lord have mercy. That's a Caymanian term, a shock of surprisation. Wait for court. Don't count your chickens before they hatch, my dear. All right. Then we see the following response. I work 11.5-hour days to make up for time. I can be here to attend whatever appointments I can just to pay for his insurance and appointments. I got paid today and paying the overdraft to cover the MRI, Dr. Foley's appointments this week. I'm still in overdraft. You see what I'm telling you? People, you put all your business out there now because these are in wide circulation and more. I'm set to leave Cayman in 9 days to see whatever the heck is wrong with my son. So forgive me for being overly cautious with a man whose priority has been himself for the past 29 months. When you're busy parading around, flaunting money, I'm doubling down and around. I'm doubling down and around to make sure that he has everything he needs. Everything. $268 eye drops, $140 syringes, $3,000 MRI, $240 for every time he sees Dr. Foley. Save Cayman and lose your son. Whoa, whoa, and whoa. So my sources tell me that unfortunately the little boy has a eye problem. He was partially blind in one eye and needed to have a serious surgery, some sort of, I don't know if exactly if it's a cornea transplant, but something major. And so the little young kid had to go to Bascom Palmer to have this done. Now, you guys know, let me tell you something about Bascom Palmer. Bascom Palmer is one of the renowned eye institutes in the entire world. And we are fortunate enough to have it be right in Miami so that you can easily access it. I've known of other people who've had entire cornea transplants. Like they take the whole thing out and give you practically a new eye. And it's done at Bascom Palmer because they are top of their game. I actually had, before I had to start wearing glasses again, back in the late 90s, I had my LASIK surgery done at Bascom Palmer because they were the best at that time, leading the way in LASIK. So they have a reputation. And you know what else? When you have to have major surgery like that, it costs a lot of money. So do I believe the stories I'm hearing that the mother's copay on her insurance is $60,000? You better believe I believe it. Do I also believe that the father has offered to only pay $7,500 of that $60,000? Well, folks, this is where you need to be careful because people can screenshot these messages. They can share them with people. And all of a sudden, your business that you put out there trying to make other people look bad is going to make you look bad. Now, everybody's talking about this situation today. Rolston's name is in everybody's mouth. Siobhan's name is in everybody's mouth. The entire family's name is in everybody's mouth. We got in all the sus, because half of you on here commenting yesterday, I had no clue who you were. And all of a sudden, I get these messages. Well, Sandra, Philip is so-and-so. This one is so-and-so. This is how they're connected. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm telling you, my phone was on fire. Evelyn said, must call the fire truck. You all need to call the fire truck on my phone. Because that was blowing the hell up yesterday. There are other people who I know who are considering running for public office. And then the news that, oh yeah, well, they're actually having an affair with so-and-so at such and such a department, such and such an agency. They're like, I'm not doing it. Oh, hell to the no. Did you know that one of your sitting MPs right now, I'm not going to call his name, but many years ago, he was thinking about running for public office. He didn't run until last time and got in, but he was thinking about running for public office. And someone produced some photos of him in bed with another man and another woman. So they took them to him and said, these photos exist. They had big blow up 8x10 photos of a menage a trois, a threesome. A threesome, as Caymanians call it, a threesome. You get three and then some more. At the time, that person was like, oh, wow, this is out there? Yep. Not only is it out there, but they're going to use it if you decide to run for the election. Elections are dirty business, folks. Seriously. People will use anything that they have on you. And so what you need to make sure is your house is clean and you ain't got nothing, at least currently, in your life going on. So at that time, that particular budding politician said, you know what? I'm not going to run for politics because I have a young son and I don't want this out there because he's going to hear all about daddy and the threesomes. And what was daddy really doing with that next man? Because there are also rumors about daddy's sexuality that have been in circulation for a really long time. I'm just saying. Speculation, not confirmation. The overriding rule here. So Bobby says, what's Siobhan going to gain from this? The better question is all the other people trying to throw Siobhan under the bus, which has meant that her friends needed to come to her defense. What are they going to gain from this? Nobody will gain anything in the end with your messiness. That's the point that I'm trying to make. I'm not going to delve any more into this, and I could say so much more, but I will reserve my comments. And the only thing I will say is those of you who decided to open your mouths yesterday, and you did so on social media, you've opened up Pandora's box. And in Pandora's box, there was a whole line of receipts trickling out. And there could be so much more to go. Do not push people in a corner. Nobody wins in this type of situation, least of all the poor child. You are creating animosity between yourselves. You cannot call a woman a homewrecker and a liar and a this and a that and not expect to put her in an untenable position. And most people will want to defend themselves if the truth be known. And when someone has to defend themselves, right? And you are not in a good position, trust me when I tell you, all the ish is going to hit the fan. It's all going to come out. Now, we get a hold of a lot of stories, like I said, and a lot of time I'm just like, Jesus, don't put me in the middle of your mess. Because if I have to set the record straight, nobody's not going to like it, you know. Well, all 400 of you enjoying it, but you know what I mean? It's not good. No one is above reproach and no one is perfect. I don't stand here in judgment of any of these fools because I'm not perfect either. But you know, when people keep doing the same things over and over again and keep making the same mistakes and keep playing the voters for a fool, I think it's time that you really start to sort out your business. Be genuine and sincere in whatever it is that you're trying to do. If you are a serial cheater, maybe you need some counseling. Or, you know what? Just stay single. Nobody don't care. If you want to be out there sowing your royal oats, remain a single individual. That way, nobody don't care what you're doing, and they're not going to get into your mix-up. Don't be lying to people. Don't mislead people. Just say, yep, I'm a single man, and I got 5 girlfriends, and they all know about each other. If you want to run a concubine, good. Nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, and everybody knows that that's what you're doing. But it's the duplicity, the fakeness, the lies, pretending to be a family man. When your leader of your party tells you, oh, you have to go get remarried again, although you just got a freaking divorce, because that's going to make it look good. Nobody ain't fooled by that. And if you are being fooled by it, old people in this country, wake the hell up. How can you be fooled by a man who is married but beating his wife every night and you know it? Oh, but you know, he goes to church and he sings in the choir. I don't care what he does. As voters, we need to have some higher standards in this country. Yes, girl. Talking about, oh, your man is this. Oh, please, honey child, shut your mouth. Don't be swearing for nobody. Now, let me change a little bit from the political arena. Hi, Mitzi, morning. To this other story now. So you guys remember, and I know I'm cognizant of the time, we got to bring in Heather here so she can get her time this morning. But you guys will know of this young lady. Her name is Eve High Voltage. That's her celebrity name. She says she's a Cayman's #1 celebrity. So last year, February, she was arrested for a robbery, and we reported on the arrest. Of course, in typical Eve fashion, She denied, this is Eve, she denied that that's what she was arrested for. She claims that she was arrested for a traffic ticket. Now, first of all, you know that we would not be saying that somebody was arrested for being involved in a robbery without having extremely good information. Not only did we have people who witnessed the arrest and who knew what it was all about, we had a video of it, right? Now, police might come and issue you a warrant if you don't pay a traffic ticket, but they're not going to send the big boys out with the guns to arrest you at your workplace for non-payment of a traffic ticket. So her story from the onset was like, that don't even make no sense. Talking about messy. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. So she went on and on about the situation. Mr. Hamity, Mr. Robert Hamity, may he rest in peace, issued a letter to all of his staff saying that his employee, and he named her, gave her a proper name, had been arrested for being involved in this robbery of his liquor store in Grand Harbor. She went on to say that that was a fake letter, that wasn't true. I think she even accused us of falsifying the letter or something ridiculous, child. I don't even know. So she hunkered down in this lie that it wasn't true. I don't know. Why do people lie? Especially in Cayman where everybody know your business. Why do people choose to lie? I have no godly idea. Anyway, in her lies, just for full and frank disclosure, she did a number of live streams about me where she attacked me. She belittled me. She went after my child. She talked about my husband. I think she did about 4 of these live streams. And I've had to report her to the police because there comes a point in time when you really cross the record. Thank you, Natasha. It was Governor Square Tortuga robbery. And she was arrested at the headquarters, Tortuga off of Sound Road. So, you know, she totally went over the top with her response to me. And the only reason, folks, that somebody responds to you in that manner is because you've hit a nerve. The truth hurts. Sometimes the truth really hurts. We report on Eve like anybody else. Her proper name is something Cupid. Her last name is Cupid. We report on her just like we do anybody else on this program. Everybody's fair game. Next week, we're going to be talking about all of you writing bad checks to the government, because now the government has taken a position where they're going to take you to court for writing bad checks. And we get to see all the stuff, all the court like stuff, you know, so we know who you are. And we will be doing a story about that because, number one, it's a stark warning that if you write a bad check to the government, they're going to take you to court. And it's also interesting to see the so-called business people in the community who are writing $1,000 checks to the government that are bouncing left, right, and center. Because that's a warning for you to be wary of those individuals. Because if they can write the government a bad check, they're probably going to be doing shenanigans with your money if you go to them for their services. So yes, we report when people get arrested. You guys know this. We've been around almost 4 years now. We name you when you get arrested. It is what it is. So she denied it. This week, the police issued a statement. You can go to their website if you don't believe us. That she had finally been charged, as well as a 25-year-old man from East End. Now, of course, we knew that it was her that was charged based on the details of the press release. The police don't typically name anyone. Two charged in relation to 2020 Governor's Square robbery. This was their press release of March the 15th. We report all of what the police report on. So the fact that the police reported it, we turned that into a news story because it is news. At the time that the news story went up, we didn't know who the 25-year-old young man was. We have since discovered his name, and we are obtaining a photo of him because he's also in court for stealing a $60 bottle of Hennessy. So he's a little bit messy. And so I'm sharing this story to say Eve shouldn't take it personal when we report on her. She seems to think that we have some sort of issue with her. Honey, you are just the news piece of the moment. And every time you do 5 live broadcasts after that, trying to attack me, trying to harass me, trying to bully me, name calling. I mean, she has gone so low that I can't even imagine. The potty mouth, the dirtiness, the insults are just over the top. So she's going to be seeing criminal charges in relation to that as well, most likely. I'm waiting on the DPP's office. We didn't report any lies. We reported the truth. We actually spoke to Mr. Hamity at the time. He confirmed that he was the author of the email that went out to all of his employees about her. So now that she's been charged, everybody's like, well, turns out Sandy wasn't lying on you after all. Remember what I said at the onset of the program? Sometimes it's best to just keep your mouth shut. Don't respond. Don't have anything to say because you know you did it. Now she's all over social media responding where she's basically admitting it. Now, if I was her lawyer, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing, girl? Oh, you guys only have time to worry about me. I'm just a little thief from Jamaica. Okay, so now you're admitting that you're a thief. Last year you claimed it was a traffic ticket when you got arrested, but now you're like, oh yeah, I'm a thief. That might hurt your whatever your defense is going to be. Or maybe there'll be no defense. I don't know, since they caught you in CCTV footage driving the getaway car. I don't know. But whatever, you think your lawyer would just tell you, honey child, stay off of social media and keep your mouth shut. You see what I'm saying? People just want to respond when they know they're in the wrong and they want to put all their business out there. Even the videos denying that it was her is something that could be used by the prosecution against her. You see where I'm going with this? Sometimes you just need to stay off of social media and keep your mouth shut. Here's another example. Somebody got in social media on a live yesterday talking about how good their name is. They've never been on NAU. They've never stole from somebody. They've never done that. You done know that my phone ringing off with ex-police officers said, tell that boy to shut his mouth. Because he must not know that those of us who were on the force at the time know about the theft allegations against him. You see, we think that we can rewrite our history. And I guess social media, the world of Instagram and Facebook, gives us an opportunity to create a certain persona. Your persona isn't reality, folks. And you better be careful how far you try to go with the fake persona because people know your business. And Caymanians not only know your business, but they're going to talk your business. And they're going to talk about how this one had to change their name, this one had to do this, and this one had to do that. Relax yourself, okay? Politicians especially, relax yourself. I'm telling you. People know. When you operate in these political parties as a female representative, a female community leader, and even people in your very party are talking about, oh Lord, try and tell her, go sit down and hush her mouth because all the party leaders have had her. She's like a doorknob. Everybody takes a turn. Relax yourself. Don't be going after your opponent with a vengeance when you have no room to talk. Just because you can put on a little bit of makeup and look sweet and nice and pretty, don't mean that the skeletons in your closet are pretty. Okay. Good, folks. That is all I'm going to say on that topic here today. We need to talk for a few minutes about the premier and his lies. And then we're going to bring Heather Bodden onto the program. And after that, we're going to have, yes, I'm sending the link to Heather right now. Then we're going to have Alwick come on for a little bit with us. So speaking of messiness, let me be very clear. Alden is one messy premier. Let us see why. If you vote in Red Bay, I don't care if you're a Progressives supporter or not, yesterday he really put himself in a hole. Sanya, thank you so much. You're right. I be reporting on myself, so I don't know why they think I got to report on them. Even before Mall Road was in existence, believe me when I tell you, I was reporting on myself. The second I would get arrested, they had me in handcuffs right down at lockup, and I'm like on my little BlackBerry sending out a BBM. Oh my God, I've just been arrested. They said that I stole this dog. Somebody come and feed me. I'm already hungry. I wasn't hungry really, but I was like telling everybody, listen, I've been arrested. These jokers, these idiots are accusing me of stealing a dog that I tried to rescue. And then they come and they take my phone. Miss, you're not supposed to be sending out any messages. We're going to take your phone. I said, all right then. But don't I get a phone call? And they said, oh yeah, that's right. You get a phone call. My phone call is to Facebook. Facebook, post for me right now. I've been arrested, folks. Okay. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how long I'm going to be here for, but I've been arrested. I tell you guys what is going on. Every time I've gotten arrested, nobody told you I was arrested first. I told you. Even when I got a traffic ticket, was that last year or the year before? I think it was early last year or 2019. I got a traffic ticket. I think I've only had 1 or 2 tickets in Cayman, and that's not too bad. I've only had 3 tickets in my life. I remember one because I got it in the States way back when, trying to run to a wedding, and I got a ticket on my way to the wedding. Child, please. Anyway. So yes, Sanya, I tell my own business. So, of course, I gotta be talking to other people's business too. Just like right now, I'm in court. I'll tell you about this one another day. But John Felder has me in court claiming that I ruined his reputation, and so I must pay him $200,000 because I ruined his reputation. Since it's a live court case, I'm not going to say too much about it. But don't worry, I will have plenty to say in due course about him and that whole situation. Let's have a look at this hot mess with the premier. Yes, Barbara, we got to keep it real. That's what this country should be all about. So yesterday, you guys remember the letter that we discussed from Davenport, where basically Davenport called the premier a liar. They said what he said on Monday's chamber forum was a lie. When you say that somebody has told you a lie, that means that they are a liar, folks. So not long after that, the premier sent out, let me guys show you this first of all. Remember I tell you, he gets everything, So even before the premier sent out his statement, we got a screenshot. Let me bring it up here. Of the premier's WhatsApp message. So hold on a second now. So the people in his group, because he has this Red Bay community group, they were like, oh, Premier, Davenport has said that you're a liar. Please address this issue. Honey child. Here's what the Premier had to say in response to that. Let me see where it is now. Oh, good folks, the new computer's finally on the way. Hallelujah. I cannot wait till it comes so that we can try and move things a little bit quicker than they are right now. So here's the Premier's WhatsApp chat, his group chat. And he says, so someone sent him the Davenport letter in the group. I don't know who big eyes, who did the big eye emoji, but that's kind of funny. And then someone responds and says, my reading of this is that the Honorable Premier did not say he had reached an agreement with Davenport. I don't know how they came to that conclusion, because that's exactly what he said. So then he responds, good morning. I shall respond to this later today. Davenport's consent to the agreement is not necessary. They do not own the Grand Harbor Road or the land that government needs to acquire. Well, remember, Davenport said that in their letter. So that's not anything earth-shattering, sir, because Davenport actually said that. They said, we don't own the land. And they also said, the Premier mentioned their name and they quoted what he said. And they said that that was a lie. So let me just remind you guys of their press release, which we saw yesterday. So in response to their press release now, the Premier has issued his own statement. And he has now said from the Premier's office, dated yesterday, March the 17th, and of course, he doesn't ever send these to CMR. Let me say for the record, we never get these from his office, but other people send it to us almost immediately. I mean, a press release should be going out to everyone, but anyway, the Premier can be so petty. It's ridiculous. So this is a Davenport letter, said he's a liar. This is his response, basically saying that with regard to the statement issued last night by Davenport regarding the proposed local access road through Grand Harbor to Red Bay Estates and Admiral Landing, I wish to make the following points. The first thing he says is, I simply reported what I understood from the briefing I received from the ministry responsible. So in other words, you don't really know what you're talking about. You're just repeating what somebody had told you? Huh. He goes on to say, I was not in any of the meetings. Say what? Okay. If I was mistaken in naming Davenport, then I apologize. Sir, this is no longer a question of if. This is now a question of apparently you were mistaken. And so therefore, because you were mistaken, you should have just apologized. Why are you talking about if? There's no if. You got it wrong. When you get it wrong, you just say, I'm sorry. Right? Am I right or am I right? You say, I'm sorry, I got it wrong. He says, if I was mistaken. Well, all right. Then he claims that he rechecked it again, and he has been advised that the Grand Harbor developer is as keen as government to find a solution to the traffic congestion in the Red Bay area, for which we're all grateful. Well, apparently, I don't know who you're checking in the ministry, sir, but I've spoken to people connected to the Grand Harbor developer, and I don't know if he means just Grand Harbor or the surrounding developers, but none of them are in agreement with your proposed solution. And in fact, they are already lawyering up to fight this. Because now this road is going through, this access point is going to go through right by their multi-million-dollar development. And they said, hold on a second. We built and sold these units on your word that this road wasn't going to go this way. Now these people, because they've engaged in a contract with us as developers based on our word, which was based on your word, are now like, hold on a second. You're devaluing my property and I'm going to sue your asses. And you know what that means? The developers are going to sue government in return. Yes, that's exactly what's going on. So I don't know who is talking to the Premier and what ministry or who and how it go. He's talking about his ministry staff is working and finalizing the terms of the agreement before the roadway is gazetted. This is going to be another Doctor's Express, where we are all going to be sued, because when the government gets sued, folks, it comes out of the public purse to the tune of millions of dollars. And they hire all kind of QC to fight people when they need to just get it right from the onset. And so this is going to cost us another arm and a leg that we cannot afford. This is why I'm telling you, I don't give two cahoots. If you like Alden as a person, I don't care if he's your lion's brother. I don't care if he's your cousin. When you vote people in like Alden McLaughlin, who have no regard for his word, evidently, someone has just called you a liar, and the most you can say is, well, if I was mistaken, you were mistaken. You called the people damn name twice. Oh, you apologize? It's going to take more than an apology when they sue you. It's going to take $2 million. So get it together. You've been in there long enough to know what's going on. This is why we need to clear out the house a little bit. Get rid of some of them. They need to go. Then he goes on to say that he's been advised that the approval of Davenport is not required, as they do not own the property or the Grand Harbor road. Well, sir, if they still acted based on something you or your government ministry had told them. This is a business transaction now, folks. You better believe that you will be sued, whether they own it or not. In the world of business, one thing that business people like is something called certainty. We've discussed this before. Remember when I was talking about the whole Degaro project? Once government has approved something, and then they allow people to come in after the fact and make all kind of a hoopla about it, and oh, we're going to change this, we're going to do that. You better be careful because somebody's going to pay. Certainty in business, especially when you're a developer and when you're dealing with government, is a necessity. The rules can't change every other day. It's a problem when that happens. And the only way that these people resolve problems is by something called a lawsuit that will cost us money. So yes, honey child, he sent out this press release, half-ass apologizing. We will keep an eye on this situation and see where it goes. I suggest you vote Alden out. I'm just telling you the God's honest truth. So I just wanted to update you guys on that. I am very much aware that we continue to have some website issues. And you know, I hate nothing worse than tech issues. Trust me, it gets on my last nerve. But what I want to say to you, as you guys might have remembered, in case you missed the show from last week, Tuesday, we had to change our hosting service because of a complaint from this Canadian couple, Dr. Pasquale and his wife, because we did an article on them breaching quarantine. So our hosting company gave us an ultimatum that we take the article down or we lose our rights to the site. Not to the site, but we can't host it with them. So I said, listen, no one in their right mind should be thinking that I am the type of person that you're going to push around when you're in the wrong. Listen, if I'm in the wrong, then, you know, by all means, I'm going to have to admit that I'm wrong and do the right thing. But when I am not in the wrong, folks, trust me, I will stand my ground to the last. And if you do not know that about me, then you don't know me not at all. Because that's just how it is. Right? I'm not a pushover. And I never have been, and I never will be. I'm the type of person that I will literally go to jail and sit down. If I'm right, I'm right, and nobody's gonna, that's just not how it's gonna work. So yesterday, I told you the problem with this situation is that it's so stupid because they're not looking at the merits of the complaint. They said they don't get into that. It's just the fact that a complaint has been made. I'm thinking, well, that's dumb. Anybody can make a complaint. Doesn't mean that it's true or anything else. So listen, yesterday they decided to send me a copy of the complaint, which they hadn't done before. Now, let me show you something. We were talking about liars on the program today. When you are a liar, you really should just behave yourself. Okay? Because look at what this complaint, I don't know if you guys can see this. I know it's a little bit, because it's a snippet window. I can only drag it so far. But here is the complaint that this person sent, right? So they did it. I guess this is an online complaint. They said the posted data is as follows. The URL location, should they share the jackass of the day, couple breaches quarantine story. They claim that their first name is John. Last name, they put T. Not even a full last name. Address, 117 Rue Les, whatever. There's a bunch of symbols in there. So I don't know how they did that. City, Laval. State, QC. I'm thinking that's Quebec. Country, CA, Canada. They put a zip code, which I don't think is a Canadian zip code, but I could be wrong. They made up a fake email address. Listen to how ridiculous this is. Telephone number. They gave the link in question. Description. They claim it's cyberbullying, name calling, and then they put in quotes, jackass, harassment, and defamation. Now, we know it's none of those things because if it was, their lawyers would not have contacted me saying, oh, we don't have a case, but do you mind taking it down as a courtesy? So yes, honey child, Heather's coming up next. So don't y'all go nowhere. I see all 376 of you. I'm watching you. Don't leave when Heather comes on now. So then they signed it, John Tibbetts. Who the hell is John Tibbetts? You see how these people can lie? This is Pasquale, but he's such an idiot. And yes, I'm calling you a jackass and an idiot on this program because clearly you can't be too bright. Look at what he did. He used the fake name of John Tibbetts. He used a fake email address, but you know what was actually correct? Hold on here now, folks. This is where you have got to be able to do things like use the internet. Here, you know. 1 second. We put in his telephone number. And then we can actually do a name trace on this. And you're not going to guess who this number actually comes up for. So now we know it's Montreal. It is Quebec, Rogers Communication. And if I was to do a reverse telephone lookup, let me see here if I take that out. Ta-da! Dr. Pascal Terjanian. Aha! And what he did was, you see this 10001? That is the same zip code. Well, he changed it a little bit, 10012. So he changed it up a little bit. Can't even be honest about his zip code. He must have an office in New York City. And this is his phone number. 514-883-7709. So what a liar this man is. Talking about John Tibbetts that put down his phone number. Of course, we knew there was no John Tibbetts. There he is. He has an office here. Sherbrooke Quest, New York, New York. Dentist services. We have the exact address. Isn't this dude something else? Wow. So we'll be putting up a story in Dr. Pascal in short order about his shenanigans, trying to silence the truth about him and his wife. He needs to do better. Seriously. Joker. Let me tell you something. We got to deal with him. But in the meantime, please bear with us. We are still migrating our website to a hosting company who's not as stupid as the previous hosting company. And we're giving ourselves more protection from frivolous complaints such as this one. So we're doing a little migration today. The website might be up and down. So don't be messaging me every time it's down because I'm fully aware. We got our IT folks on it and we are moving as quickly as possible. Morna, thank you. John, you're right. It's not defamation if you don't lie. And they know that. And that's why their lawyers sent a courtesy request in the first place saying, oh, we know we have no legal action here. But do you think you could take it down? No, we're not going to take it down. They've reached out to Cayman News Service, and I'm sure they've reached out to the Compass. No one is taking down the truth. Morna, thank you so much. Karina says that's too funny. It is funny because people really take you for a fool, Karina. And I hate to be taken for a fool because I'm nobody's fool. You can fool me once, but I'm nobody's fool. Sanya says, Sandy, they forgot how computer smart you are. Child, please. Keandra says, no, sir. I catch instant migraine. Yes, jackass of the century 2021. Mark says I need to go work for the RCIPS. Child, I could be helping them solve some crimes. Little do they know. Julie El Rey said, call him out. Yes, you know what we should do? Larry reminds us of 514 is Montreal. Next week, maybe on Monday when we have no guest on, shall we call him on the program and ask him, like, what is your problem? I think we shall. In the meantime, let me bring in the beautiful, ever professional and lovely Heather Bodden.
Good morning.
Good morning, Heather. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm so sorry that you're coming on the program late, but we had some cleaning up to do here today. I'm wonderful. You look good.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I saw you. Yes, it is. It's gorgeous. I saw you on the platform last night.
What a meeting.
With Wayne. He had his launch meeting. And it was a really good crowd. I must say, lots of people showed up. How are you guys feeling? You must be feeling very, very positive given the support that you've seen in the community.
It's overwhelming this morning. It's actually very exciting after all the big turnout last night at the ICCI college grounds. We expected a large crowd, and we did get it. So very, very excited this morning. We're happy. We're happy. We've seen people that, came out to hear all the issues and talk with us. So we did that till very late. So good meeting.
Yes, it was excellent. And you know what I really liked about it, Heather, is we live streamed it. So don't forget, folks, you can go and catch the live stream. But I also was there in person. And I like the fact that Wayne came up with like real projects and real solutions. It wasn't just a meeting full of fluff and nothing
No,
else.
he spoke on the issues, on the real issues, and I think that's what people really appreciated. And if you notice, Sandra, no one left as he was talking about the issues that are affecting everyone around the island. They stayed and listened. I heard so many people say that they were so in tuned to what he was talking about, and everything that he mentioned, they needed to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. And honey child, can I tell you, even the dog was there. I saw one little dog there. I don't know who that dog belonged to, but that dog was walking around and in everybody's business. And I think that dog is going to be voting for Wayne too, because she didn't leave. She was there the whole time.
Somebody pointed that out, and Wayne said he did notice that he had his voter's tag.
Yes, child.
Yes,
now this
it
past
was excellent
weekend,
meeting.
It was very good. It was very good. This past weekend, Heather, you had a function. I think it was was it a coffee morning?
Coffee.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It was a coffee morning at the Cafe del Sol, and I was impressed. I did not realize that so many people took that on so seriously. It was a morning where we just invited people to come out if they had issues that they had to deal with. They came out and they asked questions. We just sat on the outside of the little restaurant out here in Savannah by Simboco. Cafe del Sol has the best coffee and the best little snacks, and we all just sat around and we chatted about anything and everything. Quincy showed up, Quincy Brown, and he sang a song for us. And it was really a lovely morning. So we're going to do it again. And we encourage those that want to come back or those who haven't been able to get by to please come by. I think it's Wayne is this Saturday morning, and then I'm there again the next Saturday morning. So those are functions and events that seem to be pulling people out. If they can't get to meetings in the night, they'll come out in the morning and have coffee with us. So we're here to help anybody. We're here to, if meetings are difficult at night, we'll meet them in the morning. Our office doors are always open. They can walk in the office and speak with us. So always here for the people, always doing what people need us to do.
And,
that's to listen.
Yes, absolutely, Heather. Absolutely. And I think that it's a fantastic opportunity to remind people now that we have one of the benefits. I know a lot of people are complaining about the single member constituency and the one man, one vote thing. But one of the benefits that is obvious to me that I really like is because you do have a smaller immediate constituency that you represent. Obviously, as MPs, you represent all of the Cayman Islands, but you do have a smaller constituency that you are directly responsible for. It gives you the opportunity to do little events like this. Like it's manageable, right? You can have coffee mornings. You can, take your seniors out, once a month.
To breakfast. And we go to people's homes and we sit in their yards or we sit on their porches. It's really working for those people that will want to hear from us, but can't do it at times that is convenient to them. So we work around their schedules, and that's how we're getting up to people. That's how we're letting people know that we're here to listen to them. And going into people's homes and just having a group of 10 or 12 people, we're finding that works as well. But that coffee morning, trust me, anybody out there that that's interested in coming out and having breakfast with us and sit on the sidewalk by Cafe del Sol, please join us. It was a beautiful morning last Saturday morning, and the weather is just perfect to just sit out there and chat and just chill and just have, best coffee in the best coffee in Savannah.
Yes, for sure. I'm so glad that we have that little plaza there, actually. It's quite a nice spot for us to, just get together, like you said, and have little meetings and stuff. So let me, this morning we've been doing a lot of truth telling on the program. And I tell you what, Truthful Thursdays, right? We were talking about some politicians who are not the most honest with the things that they do in the community. Now, I know that there was a story in circulation. I want you to help me set the record straight because I might not remember all of the details on this one, but there was a story out there about another candidate running in Savannah who was saying something. This one is so mixed up and so confused, but she as a candidate confuses me a lot. But something about a park not being kept. I don't know if it's Pedro Park, but that park isn't being kept up or some story. But come to find out, does your family own that park?
Yes.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about that so we can get the true story here.
Okay. It's been a play field there for the last 45 years. My dad and my uncles donated the land to the community. For many years, we've held many, many events. And if people will remember that when we used to host Pirate Suite back in the days, it was the only event that was no alcohol. We had always a family day during Pirates Week, and that's when people really enjoyed coming out to Savannah, to this Savannah Newlands playfield. Anyway, for the last couple of months, I would have to say is that we had some damage from the last storm that went through, and we decided that we would begin to do a little bit more of the clean up, as well as put some more of the things that people really look forward to in a park or in a playfield. And CUC has been working along with us, and we have now the proper facility for the basketball hoops that are in place, and the games are beginning to pick up. And just recently now CUC arrived and they put up some poles where we can now turn the actual playfield into not just basketball and football, but they can have the tennis, they can have a tennis net put up, and they can have a volleyball net. So we're doing a lot of things at the playfield. But yes, my family is the owner. My sisters and I now are the owners of the property since my dad has passed on. But it's been an ongoing project for us. We have been getting a lot of volunteers that have come out and really putting a lot of time into seeing that the place is upgraded. The place is really nice for kids to come and play and on the swing sets. It's a field that's been there for many years, and we've been doing the upkeep. It's just that things happen, things deteriorate, and it's just that we're now able at this point in time to get some help. And it's all volunteers from across the street at the church, and it's a group of guys that are in their men's ministry. And shout out to those guys, Tony McNary and Stephen Hale and JJ Rankin. They're the ones that have been out there most Saturdays doing the work, and we really appreciate it. But yes, the park has been needing a bit of an upgrade, but we're getting it there. Mm-hmm. If any volunteer, we're happy for volunteers. If the lady candidate wants to come out and help, we welcome her. But just to make everyone aware that it is called the Savannah Newlands Playfield. It's been that name for many years, and we welcome anyone who wants to come out and give us a hand on the upgrades. It really is in need of a lot of play equipment. Mm-hmm. And some things that we noticed that were a little bit of a danger to children. We've now corrected that, and families are able to bring their children there and just leave them alone. It's a safe area. The place is completely, it's fenced, and we encourage families to bring their children there. We're trying to organize events where we can do cookouts in the evening. We can have movies at night. So a lot of things are going on out there.
Yeah, you know what I find amazing is when I lived in Newlands, which I've only moved since the last election, I used to love to take my little Coco to that park, especially when I first got her, because when she was younger, she had so much energy. And that was the perfect little park for her to just run around. She would like run around like crazy. She'd jump up on the little benches and get all of her energy out so that when she came back home, she could have a nice little doggy bath and just chill out and relax. It was one of her favorite spots. And then sometimes we'd walk over to Pedro Castle, which is practically next door. And
Exactly.
she would like to visit the donkey. But I remember our little friend, Mr. Hurlson, would always say, tell her to, be careful with her and the donkey, because the donkey was a little bit skittish, because he had poor little thing had previously been attacked by other dogs. So although Coco was curious about him and wanted to play with him, the donkey wasn't quite too sure about her. But it was so nice to be able to just walk and enjoy the beautiful local things that we have in our community. One of the things that Wayne was talking about last night is trying to revitalize a lot of the local parks, which I think is great, because we need more green spaces. Those of us who have children, dogs, grandchildren, whatever, sometimes you just want to go and kick your feet off, walk in the grass, and, just enjoy some time in the park.
Yeah, and Wayne has been clearing out a lot of the parks in the Newlands area, and also the last storm we had really did some damage to those parks as well. So there have been people that have been working in those parks, and I think he's going to be hosting a few meetings and family gatherings in there really soon. But parks are very important in each community. And like you said, it's a place where people can go and relax. And we find that the Savannah Newlands Playfield is a place that people are enjoying it, and we need to get to work where we can see more happening there. We want to see a little track where people can just step in the field and just walk around the track. There's so much to be done there, and but it's just my family and myself that's taking care of it. So anybody out there that's willing to step forward and say, okay, I'll set up a nice little area for the kids, little kids to play. We're waiting for that. We want to see this thing, and there's so many people that have moved into the area. Take for instance, on Pedro Castle Road, there's areas that have gone up with brand new homes. So we need to get the park in proper running condition, or the playfield in proper running condition. So anyone who is willing to help us out with it, we certainly appreciate it.
Yeah. So I'm glad that we could correct that information, because we were saying this morning, and I don't think this person was necessarily lying, but sometimes when you're misinformed, when you haven't really been active in the community, you don't always know what's going on, and you open your mouth and then you make yourself look a little bit silly because you don't understand that it's private property or who owns it or whatever. So thank you so much, Heather, for clarifying that. And Heather, Ozzy, and Wayne Panton are running on the slogan that community creates country. And this is really what it's all about. Let's have a look at one of their videos that they have.
Newlands is a vibrant and diverse community which is experiencing tremendous growth as the Cayman population continues moving east. Heather Bodden and I have kept the Savannah Newlands Community Office open over the last 4 years to serve residents and address their needs. We will continue to do the work of improving and enhancing our communities in conjunction with well-established district councils. This work includes neighborhood watch programs for all communities, the setup and training of sufficient community emergency response teams, the safety and security of homes and businesses, public transportation, road improvements, effectively addressing drainage and flooding issues, managing and maintaining public spaces, implementing a local composting facility, and beautifying our roadsides and community parks. My objective is to make Newlands the best community in Grand Cayman where residents enjoy a quality of life that is second to none.
A quality of life that is second to none. Louis says, any garbage dump proposals for any candidates? Louis, I think that the government has already committed to something with DART. We've just not seen it come to fruition as yet. Debbie says, I would like the community to know that Heather lets everyone use the park for free. Pedro Castle, the churches, and for many community events, Heather also spends her own money to keep the park going. Please, we need volunteers to assist Heather. So again, folks, if you're interested in volunteering, it might just be one Saturday a month that you guys go out there, cut the grass, pick up debris, whatever. Let's try to keep those green spaces as, family friendly and kid friendly as possible. So Jasara says that they need to do something with the West Bay Scholars Park too. Well, Jasara, we're the West Bay representatives. They got time for everything else under the sun, including hosting Latino night. Tell them to fix the parks. Leda says that Heather will be a great representative for Savannah. She truly has a servant heart for a lifetime. So you've got some supporters on here, Heather. Yeah, we go way back. So I know all the things that Heather has been doing in the community. And if you don't know, you've not been paying attention, because she silently goes about her business. Now, Heather, I've helped you for a number of years, not recently, but in the past, even with the annual Christmas party for the seniors, for the elderly.
Yes.
And that's always a lot of fun.
Always. 29 years. This will be our 30th this Christmas.
Oh,
Lord,
wow.
Spare lives. It'll be 30 years. And we started that at the playfield. And over the years after Ivan hit it, it got a bit torn up as well. So
Yes.
we approached Debbie at the Pedro Castle, and thank you, Debbie, for your support all those years. And we went over to Pedro Castle in the courtyard, and it's been a lovely setting. Honestly, when we enter those courtyard gates, it's the most beautiful, beautiful setting with all the Christmas trees done by the Pedro Castle staff. And all the tables are all decorated by myself and the volunteers. And it's just a beautiful time for the seniors. They come out, they enjoy themselves. This past Christmas, we thought we were not going to have it, but it went through, and they left happy, because for a couple of months they were all locked down, and they were anxious to see their friends and family. So this past Christmas, they really had a Christmas. Now, God spare our life to see this Christmas, and we're okay through the past that pandemic. We will be doing a bigger, better one, because it's going to be the 30th year anniversary. And all my volunteers that have been with me for the past 15 years, it's just lovely to work with them. We work in peace and harmony, and everybody just does everything that they do for the betterment of this community. And we're just happy to be here doing what we're doing. And I never stop. I mean, I keep saying to people, this is what community is about, just being there for your people. I roll up my sleeves, I get out there. If it's an Earth Day cleanup, I do it. Sorry. Whatever needs to be done in our community, we send a strong message. You're welcome to come here and live amongst us, but don't bring your bad habits, because we're not allowing that at all. We're against littering. We're against anything that's going to tear down and bring down your communities. We're against it. But we welcome people in here, and we really, really want to see a beautiful park and play field on the Pedro Castle Road. We really need to see that upgraded. So I'm begging and just appealing to people that come out and help us, because there's so many people that have moved into the community in the last couple of years. It's the fastest growing right now. So people need to know that the area is there for their use, for parties, for any events that they would like to have. But we need the help to keep it up.
So Magdalena says community beautification is not the only thing constituents need. We want security for children's future, improved education systems, better educational access for single parents, progress financially for a future, better incentives for Caymanian-owned businesses, and more transparency from our elected officials during their time of service. Any of those, Heather, that you wish to speak to briefly?
All of those are very important issues, and trust me, there are our priorities on this campaign trail. Every single one of those issues. And as we go on with our meetings, they'll hear more and more about them. Mr. Panton's meeting was last night, and he spoke on every one of those issues. My meeting now is scheduled for this Saturday night, and I ask all the people that want to hear about what my plans are for Savannah, just come out to my meeting on Saturday night on Jason Avenue, and you'll hear more. And all of these things are priorities to us right now. We have to be the voices for these people. We have to be, there for those that are now, in conditions where they've never found themselves before, and we're going to be their voice, and then we're going to listen to them.
Mm-hmm. So Irvelyn is here. Anna says,
Anna. Hi, Anna.
Yeah, she says, I've known Miss Heather Bodden from 1992 when I first met her in Miss Teen, and she's always been the same person to date and never changed. She's truly a humanitarian. Love you, Miss Heather.
Thank you, Anna. I love you too. Yes, she was one of my young ladies that entered the pageant, and I coached her, and she did amazingly well. So I know Anna's all grown up now, but she still keeps in touch. So keep on doing the good stuff, Anna. Love you.
And Jackie says, good morning to everyone. Magdalene says her children are not going to be able to buy land. Cayman is fast becoming a country for the rich and ousting the middle and lower class. So, of course, there's a lot of truth to that statement as we all grapple with how to make sure everyone gets a fair share of the pie, and that there's, equality in so many different areas, equality in healthcare, equality in employment opportunities, in the housing market. One of the things that Wayne Panton said last night, which I thought was really, really quite a good initiative, and folks, if you haven't had an opportunity to, check it out, please go back and view his meeting. But essentially, he said that, listen, foreigners should not be able to come here and just purchase land and hold on to it forever, because all they're doing is pushing up the prices, artificially inflating the prices, in fact. So I think that that's something really, really important, that, as a team, they have decided on certain key common ground that they have, and that's why they're able to work together collectively. So if you missed that, Magdalena, please go back and view it under the video section. We do have a YouTube channel as well as on Facebook. Heather,
that was an excellent meeting, and he hit all the top issues and the top subjects, and he really had people intent on everything that he was saying. So I suggest, and I would actually encourage those people to please go back and listen to Wayne's meeting from last night.
Yeah, thank you so much. Very good. Rosemary says good morning to everyone and God bless. Anything else, Heather, that we can expect from you coming up on the campaign trail? So you've got a big meeting on Saturday night.
Saturday, yes, and
Jason Avenue.
Jason Avenue, please come out and join us for that meeting. You'll be hearing lots of speakers endorse me. And it's going to be a lovely evening in Savannah. We had a beautiful meeting in Newlands last night. So it's going to be another beautiful meeting in Savannah. So I just encourage those that are interested in hearing what each one of us have to say to just come out and be a part of it. There'll be food available. We're also planning a meeting in the North Sound Gardens. I think it's on April the 1st. And we'll be doing a grill and chill there. And we'll be going into some homes that are going to be hosting us for meetings. So we're looking forward to it. It's a busy time, but we're up for it. And once again, I just want to let people know that as two people that have been in this community all our lives, we know our people and our people know us. So it's just a matter of going around and just letting people know that although we've been here, we're going to be here, for them for another 4 years. and just help us get elected so that we can do bigger and better things for them.
Mm-hmm. So Sonia says, unfortunately, I'm not in that district to vote for Heather, but if I did, there'd be no second thoughts about who I'd be voting for. Heather is an amazing and hardworking individual.
I thank you, Sonia. Thank you. You know that.
Yes, another concern about housing, and the opportunity for Caymanians to be able to purchase homes. So
we
Heather,
hear you. We hear you.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you all for watching.
Yes, we look forward to hearing more from you in the very near future. And again, folks, Heather's meeting will be simulcast on our platform, so both YouTube and Facebook. Please make sure that you tune in for that. We will have multiple meetings happening on Saturday evening. But the beautiful thing about it is if you can't watch it live, you can always go back later on and watch it. But I encourage you guys to actually go out to the meetings if you can as well. I think it's good to attend, especially if you're in the Savannah area. Hear your candidates firsthand. You can talk to them firsthand.
And we can,
to Heather.
Yes, up close and personal is what it's all about on my end. Up close and personal. I have this office here that I love when people walk through the door and just sit down and have a chat. And that's what makes Savannah so great, that and Newlands, with us having this office here, that if there's an issue, the doors are always open. We're here for them. So anyone needing anything done as a justice of the peace or just someone to talk to, I'm here. Mr. Patton is always here too. So
pop by and see him. And their community office is there, folks, right behind Wendy's. That little house, and they've got a nice new sign up, so you can't miss it.
Yes, present.
Yes. Do you still have your sign up, or did you remove that one that say hashtag she is supported? That one came down, I think, right?
The last storm we had. The last storm we had, it blew it all the way into the post office parking lot. So that's where I found it.
Gosh. Okay.
It was smashed to pieces. But anyway, we replaced it with a nice, beautiful sign now that says Wayne Panton, JP, and Heather Bodden, JP. And the address and the phone number and the website and everything is on that sign. So we're here. Our offices are always open. We were here till almost 11 o'clock every night. We're here. So, stop by any time from morning till night. Even after the meeting last night, people were back here at the office. So,
oh wow.
We're here. We're here for the people. Always been. My dad and my mom have always been people that have taken care of the community. So, my dad is passed on. My mom is getting up in age. So, what do? I just continue the legacy.
Wonderful. All right, Heather, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And we'll definitely see you on Saturday.
Yes, take care. God bless everybody. Have a beautiful day.
Okay, my dear. Thank you. All right, folks. We will have Alaric pop in just to give us a little update to see what's going on. Yes, honey child. Somebody said you're still live. Yes, I am still live. Now, did you guys miss the debate last night with Chris Saunders and what's his name? Mr. Frederick. What's his first name? Vincent Frederick. Now, folks, the PPM has lost the plot when they tell you to vote for them no matter what. They throw in these candidates out there that are not prepared. They haven't done their homework. They haven't done anything to prepare themselves to work in the community. And then they show up to things like the Chamber Forum and they embarrass themselves and they embarrass all of us. Like, seriously. But yet the progressives tells you that you know what you got. Well, actually, in Town, we know we got a good one with Chris Saunders. So we ain't changing that for someone who, when he's asked about how to reduce the cost of living, he actually says, teach your kids to go to college overseas and don't come back. Did you guys hear what I just said? Tell your children to go to university overseas and don't come back to Cayman. That's how you're going to help with the cost of living. I know you people must think I'm crazy this morning. Did your ears just deceive you? No, your ears did not deceive you. You heard what I said. The man's solution for the cost of living is to go overseas.
Welcome back to the Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forums for Badentown West. I'll turn it back over to Chris Duggan for the next round of questions, which is the final round.
Thanks very much, Will. The next topic of discussion is on cost of living. I know it's something you've both touched on already this evening. The cost of living ranked as the top issue for respondents in the most recent Chamber Public Survey. So what additional strategies would you propose to address the issue beyond those that you've already touched on this evening? And first to you, Mr. Frederick.
Thank you, Chris. Cost of living in this country is just too high, and I mentioned that before. But we also got to educate our children and get them to become smarter and to gain higher paying jobs. We also got to teach them that coming back home from college is not the only option that you have. You can get experience working overseas. You can make a lot more money there too as well, and then the cost of living is also cheaper. I believe it is time for us to get a consumer protection plan in place. Prices are too high. I have seen recently where prices in some companies are at one level, and if you go to two other levels, they're still pro-COVID prices. And I say to myself, well, why is that? Because, I mean, this island is booming, and I see the differences for the same type of bottled water in one place, and I go another place, and the bottled water is 3 times as expensive. And I say to myself, something is wrong. We have no price control. We need to put and get in place a price control mechanism to protect the consumers of this country. We need to also deal, and it's forever outstanding, with the utility company and the gas import companies on the cost of fuel coming into the island. When we have fuel shortages, our prices go up. When there's too much, our prices remain up. So something is certainly wrong, and we have to look deep into that to cut down the price of the country overall costs.
Fuel shortages? When have we had fuel shortages in Cayman? Telling your children to go overseas in order to make a better living for themselves isn't exactly the Caymanian dream. That becomes the American dream if they're going overseas. That becomes the UK dream if they're going to the UK. Candidates, you kind of know what questions are coming for the forum, don't you? Prepare yourselves. Don't go there and make yourself look like a fool in front of thousands of people. That's not how you're going to get anybody's vote. Jesus Christ. What a mess. Anyway, thank you, Troy Leacock. He has a list here of what actually contributes to Cayman's many factors. This is what I would have loved to have heard Mr. Frederick talk about, these key areas and how he hopes to address them. Folks, the PPM is putting forward candidates who are not qualified for the job. He's but one example. Mr. What's his name? Frank Cornwall in Georgetown Central is another example of someone who's woefully unqualified for the job. Do not hire people to be MPs who are not qualified just because the PPM tells you to do so. And there's some who you've already hired who have failed us, and they need to go. The PPM says to you, you know what you're getting. They want yes men in there like Mr. Fredericks, like Barbara, like David, who are going to go along with the premier. Anything he says and does, they're just there bobbing their head as yes men. Alric Lindsay is not a yes man. Alric actually has a lot of solutions that he has been talking about and that he has been proposing. Good morning, Alric.
Good morning. Just to clarify, I'm a yes man when it comes to Cayman Mall Road. So,
You're like what I said about Kenneth, his slogan is came on first. And I'm like, CMR first too. Thank you so much, Alaric, for joining us today. It's good to see you again. I know you've been having a lot of meet and greets and backyard meetings and social events, some of the smaller events where your constituents can come out and speak to you and hear where you stand on a lot of different issues. How has it been going?
It's been going good, have a good positive response, and great to continue to hear people's concerns, because it's not about what I think is a great solution. It's actually what the people think needs to be done, and also thinking about what is in the best interest of the Cayman as a whole. So I'm very happy to hear very positive responses from people in all parts of Georgetown South. But I wanted to give you a couple updates. As you know, when you come around elections for candidates, you don't get to see a lot of things that go on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of candidates get messages like, can you help with a light bill, or can you help with something? And what I try to remind everyone is that under the elections law, the candidates could get in trouble if they help you. So it's not that someone doesn't want to be a good human being and help another human being. It's just that elections law prohibits it. So in my case, I tend to let people know what charity they can contact. And the interesting thing, Sandy, is that I actually wrote to the Anti-Fraud Commission and asked them, how do we respond, as candidates? How do we respond when people ask us certain questions for help? And the interesting thing, Sandy, is that the Anti-Fraud Commission responded by email and said, it's better for me to contact the elections office. And I thought that was very strange, because I thought the Anti-Fraud Commission would sort of act independent of elections office. And, if they're going to be the ones to investigate if there's bribery or whatever else, then I thought they could give me independent guidance. But they referred me to Supervisor of Elections, and then Supervisor of Elections answered me by email, and they gave me an extract of the elections law, which describe what is treating and what is bribery and stuff like that. But my point is that I was really looking for help from the Anti-Fraud Commission to say, what standard response do you think the candidates can give? But instead, the Anti-Fraud Commission referred me to the elections office, which I don't think that is appropriate. I think that the Anti-Fraud Office should have said, these are our guidelines. These are suggested responses in certain cases, so that you are in compliance with the types of things that we look for in terms of breaches. I didn't think it was good practice to just refer the matter over to the elections office. So,
well, it seems like the truth. Sorry, Alaric. It seems like the truth of the matter is they don't know, and if they don't know what constitutes, what they will then say after the fact is vote buying, or what's the other word that they use to describe it?
So the wording on elections law, they have treating,
right,
and they have bribery. So my real point is, if the Anti-Fraud Commission is going to investigate these types of cases, how come they couldn't give me guidance? Why is it they referred me to someone else, right? And I think this is what sort of make Caymanians frustrated, because when you go to one department, they refer you to another department, and then that's why it takes 6 months to a year to sometimes get an answer, So, so I mean, another update. Sorry to jump around, but another update is, you covered in detail the story about the lady who was being evicted, and and she's still in her home. And to give you an update, an offer was made to, pay her outstanding balance, but the offer was not accepted by the government. Instead, what the government has done is to hire a law firm to go after the lady for the outstanding amount. So what has happened now is a lawyer has donated his time, and he'll be defending the lady, and she has been advised to remain in the home until the matter is complete. So One good part of the story is that a lawyer has come out and has volunteered his time to defend this lady. It's just sad that, you know, the government would go to this extent to hire a law firm when, in fact, an offer was made to settle the amount before. It's unusual that they would continue with the process. And I don't know if it's just because it's a poor neighborhood, why the pressure is being placed on the poor person. Maybe they think that the poor person will give up and you know, just feel defeated. But in this case, you know, she's not defeated. She has free legal advice now, and that person will defend her in court. So a very good result. I'm glad that she did not give up. And I would encourage other people out there who are in situations where they may feel that the pressure is so tight, the pressure is so high, they have nowhere to go, no one is paying attention to their concerns. I would encourage you to not give up, because if you keep leaning on a door, at some point it must break open. So don't give up.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that information. Robin says that we need MPs to be aware and get involved with Inclusion Cayman and needs of special needs children. Insurance companies are refusing to pay for much needed services for my autistic daughter. They've even stopped covering our children due to the condition. Wow. This is vital to be changed. And as I know, I'm not the only parent that will suffer from these restrictions. Now, I know, Alric, that you recently actually attended an event hosted by Inclusion Cayman. Can you share a little bit about that event and what your takeaway was from it?
So Inclusion Cayman is an entity that actually changed its name from Special Needs Foundation. And the idea is, instead of having a child separated from a school population and reaffirming that that child is somehow different, instead of doing that, it's much better to include that child in the normal school population so that they can integrate and associate with other students. Because in many of these cases, the children are actually gifted, but they have a different way of learning, and a different approach to learning is necessary in their cases. And it goes back to a point I've made before, which is you have to meet the child where they are, and then you lift that child up. The idea of having a set standard for a certain year or a certain grade, it doesn't really work, because you can't assume that all children learn the same and all the same method is going to work for each child. You meet the child where they are and you lift that child. So what I got from Inclusion Cayman presentation a few days ago was that the hope going forward is that funding will be provided to assist Inclusion Cayman with its various projects. Funding will be provided to assist parents who have children whose needs are addressed by Inclusion Cayman. And overall, again, the aim is for all our children to be included rather than to be segregated into different schools, similar to the way that we have segregated our Cayman children in public schools from private schools. At the end of the day, all of us have to live in the same society. All of us are working in a building with different nationalities, different opinions, people of different abilities. It's so important to just respect where people are in their lives, respect the struggle that they're going through, encourage them to rise above whatever they're going through so that they become a better person and a contributor to our society. And so that is what I get from an Inclusion Cayman, is the inclusion not just makes the person better, but the persons around them better, and overall our society better.
All right. And there's some clear issues, Alwick, that people are struggling with. As Robin just said, insurance being one of them. Debbie says, so sad to hear this. I thought health insurance companies could not refuse previous health conditions. Does it appear to you that the health insurance industry needs some greater regulation, Alwick?
Yes. So one of the issues is that in Cayman, our children suffer a lot from depression, anxiety, thoughts of suicide. And we've seen this in various reports that have been produced. And so the issue is that when you go for health insurance coverage for something like anxiety or depression, which has a high frequency of occurrence, you could basically only go to the doctor once a year or just one visit. So because it's a high frequency, it's something that needs to have more coverage. So for lower income persons, one of the things I suggest is that instead of us waiving all these concessions for rich developers, why don't we collect some of those concessions, create a reserve, and then use that reserve for emergencies and to help some of these parents who have a low income, single parent families, lower income families who can't afford a bigger insurance premium. Why don't we ensure that funds from a reserve that is made up of concessions that we collect, put some of those funds towards making sure that lower income people can afford the insurance? Because if we ensure that their health is great, then we sort of ensure that their mental well-being is in a good state. If their mental well-being is in a good state, they can participate better in their school, do better in their school. Increasing the funding for mental health in those situations, or to subsidize someone's insurance premium in those situations where they're low income, it's going to go a far way. It's the difference between a child being successful in school and not being successful, having those mental strains. So education, doing the school work is one thing, but if you have so many things on your mind that you can't focus on your schoolwork, that's another thing. I wish that we could take another approach with these concessions, create a reserve, and subsidize the health insurance for a lot of these parents who are struggling with a high cost of living in Cayman. Their children should not have to suffer and go through mental anguish and not have the proper coverage just because they're poor.
Yeah. And you know what, Alwick? It's not even a question of poor. It's just that health insurance is so ridiculously expensive. Because I remember when my daughter was born, she was a preemie. And, throughout my pregnancy, there were concerns that because she was growing so small, that there may have been a reason why. I mean, at one point, the doctor said, listen, we just don't know. But normally these are indications that something might be going on. And at 8 months, that's why she was delivered, because he said, okay, we think you've done as much as you could do in terms of carrying her for as long as you can. Let's take her out, have a look at her and see, why she's growing so small. And this was, of course, at the height of the whole Zika situation. It was incredibly scary. Because there was always the thought in the back of everybody's head that, could I have been bitten by a mosquito and somehow exposed to Zika? Thankfully, that was not the case, but she had to spend a month in the NICU. And it was only because she was tiny. Turns out, our neonatal physician did tests. And at one point she said, listen, after the first week, we don't see anything obvious with her. She's just really, really small. She's 4 pounds. And so at this point, we would be looking for the proverbial needle in the haystack. So what we recommend from a medical perspective, and let's just wait. If there is an issue, it will manifest itself. And so you need to be keen to, make sure she's coming in for all of her checkups. We look for these markers in her development to see how she's coming along. And then if we have any concerns, we can narrow down exactly what we need to be testing for. Thankfully, there wasn't anything wrong with her. She was just a tiny baby for whatever reason. And when I saw the bill for the NICU for a month, it was over $30,000. So, I don't consider myself poor. I have a job, I hustle a lot, and I'm able to pay my bills. But listen, a $30,000 bill, a $60,000 bill. Earlier, we were talking about the situation with Siobhan's child needing to have eye surgery. Her copay. So you imagine now what the actual bill was, but her copay for that surgery is $60,000. How many of us can afford a $30,000 copay. Thankfully, in my instance, the hospital, the insurance we had covers 100% of NICU. So we had to pay a little bit, but it wasn't anything, obviously to speak of. But how many of us can pay and fork out $60,000 as our copay? I mean, that is a house almost for some people around the world, So I think the concern is that insurance premiums are ridiculous. And then when something happens that you actually need to utilize your insurance, like you have said, the coverage is wanting. So the coverage itself isn't always the best. And then you have all of these hidden things in the contract, your copay, your this, your that. It's just like, I think there has to be an overhaul of the entire health insurance system, because it's one of the costs that is contributing to the high cost of living here in Cayman.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the other things that has to be done is to look at the way, prices are being charged by, some of the doctors. I don't think that the practices themselves are audited. Although the health insurance company is audited by SEMA or inspected by SEMA and are required to have audited financial statements, the doctors themselves don't seem to have any requirement for an audit.
Mm-hmm.
The reason the audit is important is we get to see if there are any irregularities or anything funny with the billing process, people being billed for things that they didn't need, and also to discover whether there are any safety standards so that the doctor should be abiding by. So an audit is not just looking at the financial aspect of what the doctors are doing. The audit is also to look at the quality aspect and the safety methods that are being employed and the practices. I wouldn't think that a doctor would reject the notion that they should be held up to a high standard. So I think two things are happening: the safety part for an audit and also the financial part of the audit. I do think that more can be done in terms of, looking at the doctor's practices and seeing that patients aren't being overpriced or being offered services that they don't need. I think some check and balance needs to be in place for the doctors, not just the insurance companies.
Mm-hmm. Some comments coming in. So Magdalena says that Cineco needs to be revamped and offer better coverage. CC says that she doesn't even have $6 an hour, much less $60,000. Darlene makes the point that special needs children not only need to be in regular classrooms, but they need programs like music therapy, which helps them tremendously. Kazreen says that MPs are invited to attend a meeting on the 24th and 31st of March from 5 to 7 p.m. at Inclusion Cayman on Godfrey Nixon Way to hear from our special needs parents and what their needs are for their children. She also mentions that Alwick is one of the few who have RSVP'd his attendance. So MPs, you've got to care about those in the community who are less capable of helping themselves, or they're going to be marginalized by other people. They're the ones who really, really, really need your help. That's why I say when somebody shows up at my door with a turkey or ham or whatever, I'm like, listen, I don't need the help. I don't need that. I need some of the policy developments that will be put in place to help me as a small business owner, but give that to someone who's in need. And if you cannot make yourself available for NGOs and MPOs like Inclusion Cayman, who are giving the special needs children's and their families the support that they need and a voice in this community, you don't need to be an MP in this country. Let's just face it, right? Those are the people that you need to represent the most. So Darlene, thank you so much. Darlene also shares that our education system needs to be removed from politics and we need an education council. Don't we have an education council already?
Yes, we do have an education council.
Yes, and we have a number of people, including Mr. Danny Scott, as if I recall correctly, who's on that education council. Now, how much say they have in the policies that drive, the education system, I guess is a different question. I don't really know. Natasha, thanks for sticking with us. Natasha says, Practices now have to provide books of accounts with enforcement of the economic substance law. I'm actually not familiar with that law, so maybe that's something we can pull up on the next occasion to kind of educate people a little bit more. So Alaric, tell us what you've got coming up that people can come out and support in terms of your upcoming events.
So today we should have a meeting at Smith Cove at 7:30 p.m. and the focus is going to be the environment. But we're happy for you to come out from Georgetown South and talk about any other issue that is important to you. So tomorrow we'll be up.
What time is the one for this evening?
Sorry?
What time is the event for this evening?
This evening is 7:30.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So Smith Cove at 7:30, and then you've got another event scheduled for tomorrow as well.
So no event for tomorrow, but tomorrow what I'll do is I'll send a new schedule for next week. So give you a week's notice of the events that are coming up next week.
All right, folks. So here's this event on the 18th, public meeting. That's today at 7:30. Smith Barcadier. Let's talk about accountability and the environment. So that will be the focus point. Perfect location, Alaric, for that event, because honestly, we know what this government was prepared to do with Smith Cove if the community had not stood up. You yourself have been part of that initiative and that drive. And in fact, the very first interview that CMR did with you is well over a year ago, and you spoke on this whole topic of Smith Cove. So I might send that just to remind people that Alaric has been around for a minute now talking about these issues of concern. He also won a case recently with the Ombudsman's office against the Cabinet Office for their refusal to consider his appeal after they refused to give him access to the meeting documents over this whole Smith Cove situation. Have you gotten the meeting documents as yet? Where are you with that situation?
It's funny you say that. It arrived yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So the extract of the cabinet minutes arrived yesterday. So that's interesting. So the follow-up question that I sent this morning to planning was, is there a copy of the Gazette notice? Because although I have an extract of the cabinet minutes now, the law requires that a notice be published in the Gazette. So I did ask whether the notice was published, and I was referred to the planning department. So I now contacted the planning department to ask them to confirm if it was gazetted in accordance with the law. So I'm waiting for that answer, and then the answer will be complete. So yes, they did provide the extract of the cabinet minutes as ordered by the ombudsman, but the final step is to confirm with planning if it was actually published, which is what is required. So I noticed you mentioned economic substance earlier. I'm not sure if it was a question that the user was asking for information on. What was economic substance a question from one of the users?
No, sorry, I was just trying to respond. No, they had mentioned the economic substance law. So Natasha says practices now have to provide books of accounts with the enforcement of the economic substance law, but I'm not personally familiar with that law. I don't know if you are or not, but maybe we need to look that up to kind of.
Yeah. So basically, what happened is we have a lot of companies that are formed in Cayman, and obviously they're doing business outside Cayman. They're using Cayman because Cayman is just easier to deal with. Cayman can facilitate, a lot of structures that would be otherwise complex overseas. So one of the things is that Cayman was put under some pressure to demonstrate that there is some substance, some transactions going on in Cayman, some directors based in Cayman, and books and records are being kept in Cayman. So Cayman then passed a law. It's not called the economic substance law, but we refer to it as the economic substance law because it's economic substance that the bigger countries are trying to push on us So the bigger countries want us to show that we have something going on in Cayman. So one of the ways to satisfy the economic substance test is to show that your business is directed and managed in Cayman. And one part of that test is to show that you have directors in Cayman. And obviously, they have to be competent people. So that's just one part of the test. But that is, in a nutshell, what economic substance is about, is for these companies that set up here and do business outside Cayman, is for them to show that they have something of substance in Cayman. And one part of the test is to show you have directors here, being managed here, you're generating some form of income from here, and you're keeping books and records here. So that's really what the economic substance law really is about.
But it's not actually looking at like fees that you're charging people as physicians and that sort of thing.
As far as I know, it's not going to look at those private doctors' practices that have ordinary companies operating here. So outside the economic substance law, outside that, the companies law does require companies to have proper books and records, but there's no requirement in the companies law for all companies to be audited. So my suggestion was that although the companies law, since the companies law doesn't require an audit for all companies, we should have something under the health regulations that require doctors' practices to be audited from a financial perspective and from a safety standard perspective.
Okay. All right. Well, Alric, thank you so much. I'm sure you've got a lot of work to do to get ready for your meeting this evening. So good luck with that meeting. We'll see if we can pop by for a little bit. We've got some really busy days up ahead. So folks, Smith Barcadier this evening at 7:30. Go out and say hi to Alric. He's going to be focusing on solutions for the environment specifically. And if you have anything else, I guess, that's pressing on your mind, you can certainly speak to him about that as well. So Alric, good luck on the campaign trail. And we shall see you next week, if not before.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, good folks. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the program today. Wonderful, wonderful show. Someone was requesting that we play the Cold Hard Truth, the song. Remember, we used to play this song all the time at the beginning of our show. I'm actually trying to find where we have it, because we had it, I think, uploaded as a video track. Let me just see if I can quickly find it. It's the original version of the Cold Hard Truth. So let me just see if I can put my fingers on it really quickly. But yeah, we used to play this all the time. But you know, Facebook is a little bit funny about items that they consider to be potentially copyrighted or whatever. But yeah, that used to be your intro to the program. So maybe it's because you guys haven't seen it in a minute. You've forgotten this absolutely appropriate song. I want to give a shout out when we were thinking of ideas, names for the program. The person who actually suggested this name, the Cold Hard Truth, which we ended up choosing, reminded us and sent us the link for the country music video as well. And for probably at least the first year of the program, we were very much using this as our intro. So I'm going to leave you with that and a few other videos. Today is a beautiful day, folks. We have a lot of work to get done. Elections are right around the corner. So we will continue to be your election headquarters. We are gearing up for April the 14th, which is election day. And you don't want to miss a moment of it, folks. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this morning. There was over 400 of you I know on at one point. And please be blessed and continue to do the things that you need to do to make the Cayman Islands the best country in the world.
You don't know who I am, but I know all about you. I've come to talk to you tonight about the things I've seen you do. I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Good day, Cayman. I'm Kenneth Bryan, incumbent MP and candidate in the 2021 election. I would like to invite you to my campaign launch meeting on Saturday, the 20th of March at the Kirk Home Center parking lot, 256 Eastern Avenue. Come and hear my plans for Cayman and how I intend to address the issues that we face. There will be special guest speakers and surprise endorsements. Refreshments will be served and Cayman's talented Quincy Brown will be the host for the night. The launch starts at 7 p.m. sharp, so make sure to mark the time and date on your calendars. This meeting is for everyone because I stand for all Caymanians, regardless of where you vote. And remember to wear yellow to show your support. My committee and I are excited to prove to you why I am the best choice on election day. I look forward to seeing you and make sure you bring a friend. And remember, together, we still can make Cayman better.
And I want my vote and to do something about the discrimination that Caymanians face on a day-to-day basis within the workforce, and to do something about the bullying within the schools. Then you can talk to me. You do something about the unemployed people of my community. And I'm not talking about after COVID, I'm talking about before it, because it's been going on for years. We vote you guys in and you guys go up there and you argue about nothing and make no changes. I'm tired of it, man. It's 2021. I can barely afford groceries, light, water, and I'm paying somebody else's mortgage. You wanna know why? Because I can't even afford a house. I got my mother and my father asking me why I don't have a house. You Cayman is no longer for Caymanians. And it hurts my heart to say that. That Cayman is no longer for us. What children have?
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.